What's going on? Transfer portal season is almost here. We're hearing names today. I kind of wondered how soon it would be that we started seeing some guys go in, but it has come out this afternoon. Two Vols, and specifically two Vol defensive linemen, have entered the transfer portal. I'll discuss that in a minute. Make sure you hit that like, that share, that subscribe. Thanks for the support along the way, as I've got my lamp still on. There we go. Let's get that off here. But you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen with the portal. If there's any kind of changes with coaching staff, will there be more? But you've got that January window right now. But, you know, Tennessee should find out next week, and obviously what bowl game they'll go to. And, you know, just me looking at it down the line, I went through every position. And, you know, could you get some surprise guys in there? Yes. But on the surface, you know, there's some that seem obvious. I'm not necessarily going to name names on it, but I will go through positions on it. But today, Tennessee defensive lineman Jamal Wallace and Kellen Lindstrom have both entered the portal. And Jamal Wallace, he's a guy earlier in the year, felt like he really did some things. And, you know, after he played 6 games this season, and, you know, it felt like, I thought earlier on when they had some injuries, we were seeing a little bit of him taking that step. And then, you know, obviously we don't see anything with him after that. So it says he had 6 games, 78 snaps this year, and recorded 4 tackles, 3 the year before in mop-up duty. So not a lot of playing time for him. And then Kellen Lindstrom as well. Not a guy we heard a lot of this year as well. Second year in the program, and during his freshman year he just saw action 3 games, and he saw just 3 games this year as well. Total 2 tackles against Mexico State, and that was it. So what we're looking at with the portal is it opens on January 2nd. It's open through January 16th. By my count, as I go through it, I went position by I'll tell you what I think position by position on it. I've got upwards of possibly 20 guys could enter the portal just based on what I'm saying. It could be more, it could be less on that. I'm not making a guarantee on it, but I'm looking at quarterback. I'm looking for one specifically to hit the portal on that. I don't like to be any secret out there. I've seen people put it out there that it'll be a surprise if Jake Merklinger is here come into January. I'm looking at running back, and I think there's opportunity at the running back spot for Tennessee. I really do. And because all you're losing is Star Thomas. I've not heard anything that Deshaun Bishop might consider going to the draft. I mean, 1,000-yard rusher. He's had a good season. You know, what would his draft stock be right now? I think it's a really good story. A guy who was, you know, come in as a walk-on. Now odds are, you know, after the bowl game, he is going to be a 1,000-yard rusher. You know, and just looking at it as well, I mean, because you have slated to come back Deshaun Bishop, Peyton Lewis, DeJuan Morris, and Justin Baker. And, you know, looking at Tennessee's class right now, there are currently, I mean, you've got some guys who are athletes committed, but you don't have a true running back in here. So there are opportunities for all 4 guys in here. And would Tennessee do like they did last year when they went out and got Star Thomas? Could they possibly go out from the portal? Of course, you've got Amari Latimer running back out of Georgia, who's committed to Wisconsin. From what I've seen, Tennessee still been in contact with him. Could they flip him with early signing day coming up on Wednesday? But you know, I don't think you rule out any. Yeah, I don't know that you can rule out anybody leaving at any point, you know, when we talk tampering and things of that nature. But, you know, Tennessee's already – I've not read the article yet how they've already been on trying to get some of these NIL contracts signed for next year. So, you know, they're trying to take care of their main guys, get them in the boat, and they can move forward on it. I could see anywhere from 0 to 2 running backs hit the portal, to be honest with you. I really could, just depending on opportunity. And what they're looking at. Does somebody want to be the man next year? You know, other than Bishop, because Bishop comes back, you got to think he's getting majority of the carries Could one of the other guys say, well, I can go somewhere and get more carries? Or do they keep doing their thing and carve out their, role next year as well? Wide receivers, Chris Brazzell, I think he's gone to the draft after this year, 1,000-yard season, heck of a year for him. His stock is, I don't know that his stock can get any higher going into next year, especially when you got Jeremiah Smith coming out, among others. But there are a couple receivers I could possibly see hitting the portal, because if everybody signs, based on what they've got with Celeste Moa, there was concern with him taking a visit to Michigan this weekend. It looks like Tennessee's good in that regard. Now, you never say never till the end, but Austin Price, Matt Ray, VolQuest.com have both said, based on them speaking with, it looks like things are good, and said that he did make the comment, Celeste Moa did, that he's really looking forward to signing with Tennessee on Wednesday, and he's got a good relationship with Kelsey Pope. Tristan Keys, I've heard nothing about him wavering at this point, as he's been on campus numerous times recently. Tyreek King, I've heard nothing about him, as well, as he's a top 100 guy also. And then, Tennessee's going to continue to try to get Legend Bay back in the fold. He flipped from Tennessee to Ohio State. Based on, everything I've read, Tennessee's still trying, and Kelsey Pope does have one of the longer standing relationships there. So can they get him back in the fold? But there's a couple guys in that receiving room that I could see, maybe looking elsewhere, especially with the talent that they're bringing in. Tight end room, Miles Kitzelman, as it looks, he's done with. But you'd have Ethan Davis, Deshaun Brame, Jack Van Dorselaer, Cole Harrison coming back. I could see somebody hitting the portal out of that group. And then you've got committed Luca Wolf, who flipped from Cal. Offensive line's one that's kind of weird for me, because you don't lose anybody on the offensive line. Just going down through here, there are no seniors on this line. Now, could Lance Hurd test the draft waters? That was one people kind of wondered. Would Wendell Moy test the draft waters? I don't know what their stock is at this point, but Tennessee could go anywhere from losing none to, I could see a few guys hitting the portal. Some of these guys that's been in the program a couple of years. There is one in particular that I see on here that I'm surprised he's still on the team, because he's a redshirt junior. But, we'll see. I could see some offensive linemen hitting the portal. Linebackers, I could see, the question there is, will Arion Carter be back or not? Does he test the draft waters, or does he come back? That's another position. There's no seniors at it. So, and they're bringing in some really good prospects on that as well. And then, same goes for the offensive line. You're bringing in on the offensive line Kamari Blair. You're bringing in Gabriel Osenda. That's a couple of pretty good prospects. Where will they fit in there as well? And will Tennessee continue to swing for Darius Gray leading up to signing day? Is there anybody else, as they have had visits come in, that they could add? As I think there's a good chance they'll add some more that are currently not on the commitment list right now. Looking at, again, linebackers, you've got a pretty dang good linebacker class signed up right now too. You got Braden Rouse, you got TJ White in the fold. Part of me still wonders, did Joe Wyatt grow into that or not? 6'4", 196, everything they're saying he's going to be a safety. And I'll be honest, Tennessee really needs him to be a big safety as well. They need safeties in a bad way in this program, because based on what I'm seeing right now on it, you got Caleb Beasley and you've got Edris Farouk coming back. Now, who else is there? Wasn't much depth there. Could have Sydney. Oh, goodness. I lost my place here with him. I've forgotten the name. Here we go. Good grief. There's too many guys to go through here. Sidney Walton. That's it. Sidney Walton had started to play a little bit. I was about said Sidney Lewis, but I know I'd gotten him and Dylan Lewis confused on that. Are there some DBs could hit I could see some DBs hitting the portal. I could see 3 or 4 hitting the portal on that, because they're bringing a bunch in. And to me, the odds are pretty strong you're losing Not that you had Jermod McCoy this year, but he's going to be going to the draft, and you're going to lose Colton Hood to the draft as well. His stock's pretty high. Turrentine graduates there as well. Jalen McMurray graduates. Of course, Boo Carter has already left the program. So really all you've got a pretty good corner duo coming back. Ricky Gibson gets healthy, and Ty Redmond did get better as the year went along. He played a really good game against Vanderbilt. He's played some good games down the stretch. Farouk's done some good things down the stretch, but if I'm Tennessee, you've got to go to the portal, I think, to add in that defense backfield. You got to get a star in there, and what I mean by that is the position. I'm not saying necessarily a superstar. It would be great, but you've got to add there. I don't see needing to do anything with linebackers. Then, look at the defensive line. I could see up to 5 guys, including the 2 today that hit in the portal. I've got it maxed at 20. It could be more. It could be less. And again, could somebody unexpectedly hit the portal as well? But, in this off season as well, what's going to happen? When will we hear something on Joey Aguilar in that case? And there's a part of me, I'll be honest, I wouldn't mind for him to come back, but there's a part of me that says, let's end this nonsense of these guys being 25 years old or so playing college football. They got their time, man. I'm just being honest about it, because there's been many before them who went the JUCO route and only got the 4 to 5 years, depending on if they had the red shirt or not. These guys, there's guys now as old as I am, it feels like, in college playing. Not really, but guys, when you're starting to hear guys being in college for 8 and 9 years, we got to end this. We got to get rid of all this. We got to get it back to what it was. If a guy goes to JUCO, you go to JUCO. It's part of it, in my opinion. I say that as somebody not playing. Obviously, it wasn't good enough to play, but at the same time, it is what it is. And again, numerous guys who played JUCO before, they got their 1 or 2 years, and then they went with it. To me, it just doesn't work out where you go 2 years JUCO and then you get 4 years of college. I don't dig that. I just don't on it. But, if Joey Aguilar does win the case, don't get me wrong, I'll definitely take him back in a heartbeat. But, what's Tennessee do there? If Merklinger does hit the portal, you'd have George McIntyre, Faison Brandon. If Aguilar graduates, if Merklinger leaves, you've got to get a guy out of the portal, whether it's for depth or whether you go out and try to get a starter and let these guys learn a year. It'll be interesting to see what they do in that regard. Wide receiver, as long as somebody doesn't unexpectedly leave, you're set there with who's coming back and with what you're bringing in. I think your tight end spot, you're good there. If nobody unexpectedly leaves, your whole offensive line should be back. If Arion Carter returns, all of your linebackers are back. There's no reason next year and it's a tough schedule, but Tennessee's facing numerous first-year coaches. This can be a really good roster, a really good team next year. It's going to be interesting to see how they attack the portal, though. Are they going to be aggressive, or are they going to be lackadaisical like they were this past year? Because they brought in 7 guys, and Colton Hood fell into their laps late in the spring. You got Aguilar in a de facto trade, basically. Star Thomas was a guy that I thought he could have had a bigger role. I thought he did good things there. Now, obviously, Sam Pendleton, Wendell Moy were big pickups. They started all year long when healthy. Josh Shell was non-existent defensive lineman that they recruited in. And then Amari Jefferson, same thing with him, non-existent. So the portal success this year, I would say 4 out of 7 they were pretty good on, with Aguilar, Hood, the 2 offensive line. I'd say 5 out of 7. Star Thomas, too. So they hit on definitely more than they missed with it. I think you're going to have to add upwards of 10 or so in this cycle based on what you're losing through the portal and what you're losing to graduation, and possibly, losing some guys to the draft as well. It's going to be interesting to see how they manage it. And there's a lot of big decisions to be made in Knoxville this offseason. This is Frank. This is the House of Orange. Have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you when I see you.